Welcome, my friend. If you're here, it's because you believe, like I do, that life is more than noise, more than chasing approval. Here, we talk about timeless wisdom, about how to stay strong when the world feels shaky.
So, if you're ready to think deeper,
Live calmer, and rise above the chaos, hit that subscribe button and join this community. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a place for people like you, who refuse to stop growing. Lesson 1. Don't believe everything you feel. Undermined, have you ever woken up and felt like the whole world was against you? Like every noise, every face, every word was meant to hurt you? I have. And if you've lived long enough, I know you felt it too. Emotions, they feel so real, don't they? When anger comes, it paints the entire world red. When fear visits, every hallway looks dark. Every door feels locked. In those moments, it's easy to believe the story your feelings tell. But let me share something I've learned after 6 decades of living and years of working with people just like you. Feelings are liars. Not always, but often enough to destroy your peace if you trust them blindly.
I want you to picture this.
You're driving and a car cuts you off. In that instant, your chest tightens, your heart races, and you think, "What a jerk! He disrespected me." Your anger says, "Punish him." But is that the truth or just the story your biology wrote in the heat of the moment? Most times, that driver wasn't even thinking about you. Maybe they were rushing to the hospital, or maybe they were just careless. Your feelings built a courtroom and put you on trial, and yet there was no case to begin with. Here's what the Stoics taught me, and what life confirmed. Emotions are visitors, not rulers. You don't need to slam the door on them, but you don't hand them the keys either. Watch them come, watch them go. Act only after the storm has passed. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many times have you lost sleep over something that never happened? How many times have you believed the whispers of fear only to find out life wasn't as cruel as your mind predicted? If you're honest, probably more than you can count. I've been there too. I remember standing in my kitchen years ago, waiting for a call that could change my career. Every second felt like a blade. My mind played movies of failure, embarrassment, shame. And then the call came. It was fine. All that suffering, self-made. And yet, it felt so real while it lasted. So what do? How do we stop emotions from running our lives? We practice the pause. The Stoics had a simple rule: delay your reaction. Anger demands instant action. Fear pushes for instant escape. But wisdom whispers, wait. Take a breath. Count to 10. Take a walk. Write it down. Do anything that gives truth a chance to speak louder than the noise inside you. Ask yourself, if I act on this feeling, will I regret it tomorrow? Most times, the answer will save you from a lifetime of damage. Remember this: feelings are powerful, but they are not prophets. They don't predict your future. They don't define your reality. They only color your perception, and you control the brush. Have you ever made a decision in the heat of anger or fear and later wished you hadn't? What did that moment teach you about trusting emotions? The next time your heart shouts, "React now," do something radical. Don't. Let the storm rage, but stay rooted. Because strength is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. That's where your freedom begins. Lesson 2. People don't see you, they see themselves in you. Have you ever wondered why people judge you so quickly? Why someone you barely know throws a sharp comment your way? Here's the truth, it's rarely about you. People don't see who you really are. They see their reflection in you. Their fears, their insecurities, their unfinished stories. I'll never forget a woman I counseled years ago. She came to me in tears because her friend called her selfish for declining an invitation. She tortured herself for days, asking, "Am I really selfish?" But as we talked, the truth emerged. Her friend was struggling with loneliness and projected that pain onto her. It wasn't about her at all. It never was.
Here's the Stoic wisdom.
What others say reveals more about them than about you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When someone does you wrong, remember, he acts according to his own understanding." People act from their perception, not reality. And perception is a mirror, often cracked, often foggy. So why do we suffer? Because we want so badly to be understood, to explain ourselves until everyone claps in agreement. But let me ask you, has that ever worked? You could spend years justifying yourself, and those who want to misunderstand will still twist your words. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I poured energy into defending every decision, every opinion. It drained me. Then one day an old mentor said, "You're wasting your life trying to paint the sky for the blind." That woke me up. From that day, I stopped. And you know what? My peace returned. So here's your takeaway. Stop seeking clarity in someone else's fog. Live with integrity. Let your actions speak. Those who truly see you won't need an explanation. Those who don't, they aren't your audience. Ask yourself right now, whose opinion still chains me? And then break that chain, quietly, firmly. Because when you're clear with yourself, their blindness loses all power. Lesson 3. Comfort is a golden cage. Comfort feels good, doesn't it? A warm home, a steady routine, a life without surprises. But let me tell you a secret. Comfort can kill you, not your body, but your spirit. It's a golden cage. Soft cushions, locked doors. I've seen it again and again. Men retire after decades of hard work, dreaming of peace, but after a few years, their eyes lose that spark. Why? Because the soul was made to climb mountains, not sit in padded chairs. Seneca warned us, a life of ease rots the mind. Challenge is the grindstone that sharpens us. Discomfort is the gym for the soul. Look back at your life. The moments you grew the most, were they easy? Or were they the nights you cried, the days you fought to keep going? I once coached a man in his 60s who confessed, "I feel invisible. I thought comfort would make me happy, but it made me hollow." So we made a plan. He signed up for a marathon. At first, he could barely run a mile. But months later, when he crossed that finish line, he wept. Not from pain, but from rebirth. Discomfort woke him up. Here's the truth. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. So what now? Step into the unfamiliar. Learn a skill. Take the trip. Have the hard conversation. The fire of life burns in the places that scare you. Am I too comfortable right now? Then go there and shake the cage open. Because the life you want is on the other side of ease. Do you think comfort is the real enemy of growth? What's one time you stepped out of your comfort zone and how did it change you? Lesson 4. You become what you silently tolerate. This one is tough because silence feels safe. We tell ourselves it's not worth the fight. I'll just ignore it. But let me tell you something. Every time you swallow a lie, every time you bow to injustice, you're not avoiding pain, you're molding yourself. Slowly, silently, you're shaping into someone smaller. I learned this early in my life. I worked in an environment where gossip and backstabbing were normal. I hated it, but I stayed quiet. Day after day, I told myself, keep the peace. But you know what happened? I started changing. My silence didn't keep the peace. It killed my integrity. And one day, I woke up and thought, who have I become? Not all silence is wisdom. Sometimes it's corrosion. The Stoics teach us to endure what we cannot control, but they never said, endure what destroys your soul. Marcus wrote, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. He didn't say, let wrong thrive in your presence. So ask yourself, what am I tolerating that is breaking me down? A toxic friendship, a boss who crushes your dignity, the little lies you tell to keep others happy. You teach the world how to treat you by what you allow. And when you stop tolerating what insults your soul, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. You're not here to shrink. You're here to become steel. And steel is forged, not caged. Lesson 5. Not everyone wants the truth. We like to believe that everyone values honesty. But live long enough and you'll learn many people would rather hold a soft pillow of illusion than wrap themselves in the cold blanket of truth.
I remember a man I once spoke to.
Successful, admired, yet miserable. He confessed, "My marriage is dead, but if I admit it, everything falls apart." So he kept pretending, smiling in public, dying in private. Why? Because truth is heavy. It demands change, and change terrifies those who crave comfort more than freedom.
Here's what Stoicism whispers.
Don't waste your life shaking the sleepers awake. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more who is poor." And craving illusions is the deepest poverty of all.
So what do you do?
Live honestly, quietly, firmly. Don't argue with the dreamers who call reality cruel. Don't waste breath explaining why you've chosen clarity over comfort. Just live it. When they're ready, your life will be the proof they need.
Ask yourself,
am I bending the truth to keep people comfortable? If yes, stop. Speak gently, live boldly, and let those who fear truth walk their own road. Because your soul wasn't made for shallow waters, it was made for the deep. Have you ever lost a friend or relationship because you spoke the truth? Do you believe honesty is always the best policy? Lesson 6, freedom begins when you stop seeking approval. Do you know what chains most people? Not iron, not law, approval. We are raised to seek it from parents, teachers, friends, strangers on a screen. We measure our worth by applause, but here's the trap. The crowd is fickle. They cheer today, crucify tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Isn't that true? We sacrifice inner peace to win a nod from people who barely know us.
I lived that life once.
Every choice weighed against what will they think. And you know what? It left me exhausted, hollow. The day I stopped asking that question, everything changed. I replaced it with a better one. What do I think of myself?
Freedom isn't doing whatever you want.
It's standing firm when the crowd disagrees. It's saying, "This is right for my soul," and walking that path without apology.
So ask yourself,
Whose approval still controls me? Then break the chain, not with anger, but with clarity. Because peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being true to the only person who will walk with you until the end. Yourself. Lesson 7. Strength lives in stepping into uncertainty. Pioneered. We all love the familiar. It feels safe, like warm light on a winter night. But safety, left unchecked, becomes a prison. Every great transformation begins with a step into the unknown. And yes, it's terrifying. That's why so many never take it.
think of the first time you left home.
The first job you took, the first time you loved someone deeply. Were those moments easy? No. But didn't they shape you? Seneca said it best, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. I once coached a man in his 50s who hated his job but stayed because it was secure. Secure, but killing his spirit. He dreamed of starting a small woodworking business. We talked for months. Finally, he jumped. The first year was chaos, doubts, debt, sleepless nights. But when I saw him 2 years later, he looked younger. His eyes were alive. Why? Because he walked through the fire instead of sitting in smoke.
Here's the truth.
Growth doesn't live in the comfort zone. It waits in the unfamiliar, in the hard conversations, in the risks that make your stomach twist. So what's your next step? A new skill? A new chapter? The hardest thing you're avoiding? That's probably where life is calling. Ask yourself tonight, where am I choosing comfort over growth? Then be brave enough to answer with action, because fear is a liar, and the only cure is motion. What's the hardest leap of faith you've ever taken? And looking back, was the fear worth it? Lesson 8. Not reacting is a kind of power. Have you ever been baited into an argument only to regret every word? That's because reaction is weakness dressed as strength. It feels powerful in the moment, but it costs you peace later. The world will test you with insults, with cheap provocations. If you answer every knock, you'll never stop opening doors.
The Stoics mastered this art.
Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Notice he didn't say power over others, because you can't control their words, but you can master your response. I once witnessed a scene in a cafe, two men arguing, voices climbing higher. Then, one man simply stood, paid his bill, and walked away. Instantly, the whole place fell silent. That's real power, not in shouting louder, but in refusing to be dragged into the mud. Practice the pause. When anger flares, don't answer its call. Breathe, delay. Write it down instead of spitting it out, because silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It says, I choose my battles, and this one isn't worth my soul. Ask yourself, who has the power to control my mood today? If the answer is anyone but you, it's time to reclaim it. True strength isn't in fighting every fight. It's in knowing when to walk away and feeling no need to explain. Lesson 9. You owe no one an explanation for your worth. Arbin. We spend half our lives trying to explain ourselves, to prove we're good enough, smart enough, lovable enough. But here's the hard truth. Those who truly see you don't need the proof, and those determined to misunderstand you will never listen. I learned this from a painful season in my own life. I tried so hard to justify my choices to family, to colleagues, to friends who didn't understand. I thought if I explained well enough, they'd nod and say, "Now we get it." They didn't. Some walked away anyway. And when they did, I realized I had been pleading for permission to live my own life. Stoicism set me free. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That line hit me like lightning. Can you imagine that kind of freedom? To live true without chasing applause? So let me ask you, who are you still explaining yourself to? Who are you trying to convince? Stop. Take that energy and pour it into becoming undeniable, not through words, but through a life so aligned, so authentic, it speaks without sound. You owe the world your honesty, your effort, your integrity. But your worth? That was never up for debate. Why do you think we crave validation so much? How did you learn to stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you? Lesson 10. Truth doesn't run, it stands. We live in an age obsessed with shouting. Everyone wants the last word. But here's a truth the Stoics understood. What is real does not need to scream. It endures, quietly. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Stop telling people you're honest, just be honest. Stop arguing about values, live them. Let the results speak, not your ego. Because noise fades, character doesn't. Years ago, I knew a man who was falsely accused at work. Everyone expected him to fight, to throw mud back. He didn't. He kept doing his job, calm, consistent, unwavering. Months later, the truth surfaced. His accusers? Forgotten. His name? Stronger than before. Not because he shouted louder, but because he stood like a mountain while others blew like dust. Ask yourself, am I trying too hard to prove I'm right? Let it go. Be the proof. Do the work. The quiet confidence of truth is louder than any argument. Because in the end, strength isn't in noise. It's in the stillness of what cannot be shaken. It's closing message for the series. If you've walked with me through these lessons, you already know, Stoicism isn't about killing emotion. It's about reclaiming control. It's about refusing to be a puppet of fear, anger, or applause. Life will always test you, with lies, with loss, with the weight of other people's opinions. But the question is, will you stand or will you sway? Remember this, you don't need the world to agree with you. You need the courage to agree with yourself. You don't need a map where every path is safe. You need feet willing to walk into the unknown. And you don't need to win every argument because truth, real truth, stands on its own. So take these words, not as ideas, but as a way of living. Quiet, steady, unshakable. And when the storms come, and they will, you won't just survive, you'll rise.